Good afternoon. It is August 8th, 2023, and today, really, we're just looking at a range day. In the overnight, we had this channel down, and then we had a break into a flatter channel. Then we went sideways and just reversed. And the uptrend's been pretty nice. I wasn't able to spot this channel until recently, so hopefully you were playing. I wasn't watching this live. Hopefully if you were watching it live, you were playing with your trend channels and found this, because if you did find it, you would have had some really good entries off of it that probably would have gotten you runners each time. So here's what it looks like on the daily chart. So I drew this range. I had this range a few weeks back, but when we continued to go up, I just figured I would take it off. But there was clear support on the midline of this range, and it's all from this leg of correction. Clear midline, we bounced, and now I'm seeing that we hit the measured move, and that's what this range formed from. So we sold off. Notice we gapped over that midline, broke out, found support on the top of this range, tested this level of resistance, and I would guess my channel yesterday was a little bit like this because that's where we found resistance yesterday. And now you can see today it looked like it was going to be a bearish day, and now we're rallying. Maybe that'll change, but let's go through this and look at the trades. I'll delete these because we didn't hit these measured moves at all today. So let's see, 5 o'clock comes in down here. So you get this overshoot, but it's just the first entry, so I don't think you can really, and I mean, look at how healthy that move down is. I don't think you can counter trend trade that. So, as usual, though, the overshoot leads to a break. Unfortunately, the second entry long doesn't give us a good signal bar. Let's see, where's the high on this? 0975. So I guess technically you could take this one because it had a matching high. I just don't like at this point that you're going right into the EMA, and look, we get an inside bar right after that. So really, it just doesn't execute. We come back, we test that level, and then right at the opening, we test that level again, and you get this second entry short. But it's a doji, and I mean, at the opening, I mean, we're making a new high. So this is a really good trap because it's going exactly where it ends up going exactly where you want it to go. But people who came in here too early, and let's look at why. Well, you have this bar, inside bar, inside bar. This is not an inside bar because it breaks higher. So maybe that's what you need to be on the lookout for. It's not an inside bar, but it breaks higher. So we've made a new high. So that's a really good trap. Glad I wasn't looking for a trade then, because I might have taken that on a second entry short and double test. But once you get all these dojis in a row, you can't enter that. And we make our way down to this level of support. Really, this one was pretty tempting to go short on too. But, all those dojis makes me a little nervous. We get this higher low, so you might consider taking that. But it looks like there's a channel here, but that would be your break. So it's just something to think about. You got a second entry short right here, and I'm realizing you could have gotten that flat channel right off the first two swings of the opening, which is straight from Max Manual. That's what he says. You get this first entry, failed second entry. long, and that fails. So look at how nice of a trap that would be to the downside. Um, I don't think you can take this, unfortunately, because it's really a doji. But that confirms this trend channel. Come down, go all the way to the bottom of the channel. First entry, this failed second entry. So let's talk about this second entry short. We know that we are oversold at this point. You get 3 dojis in a row. Let's say you have, honestly, I think early on I probably would have had this channel drawn more like that. And so that looks like an overshoot to me. I think that is how I'm pretty sure this is how I had it before, because I'd be looking at this low. Turns out I don't think that it is an overshoot, and I think the trend line is just down here. But either way, I mean, look, you got 3 dojis in a row right there, so you got to be careful. So then you get this like failed failure type situation, and you get a lower high. Maybe you take that. At that point, it looks like it's riding this midline, and if you don't take that, you get this failure. I think you can take that because I'm expecting prices to try and test these lows. You know, we made a new low for the day, so I think that's good enough for a scalp. Only problem is you got this inside bar, and then you have this. So, but I like that. I think, you know, I like that. That gives you an engulfing entry. One that I would be confident taking. Normally I don't like those, but here I think I could feel confident taking that. Then you get a hidden second entry short off the trend line. I'm not sure. I think I got to keep this green, even though it's right off that trend line, because it could be a range day, and this failed break lower could just slingshot us to the highs. Then we get this failure off the, I mean, I feel like you got to mark this green, but look at that congestion. So I think this is an advanced trade, and it's a failure above the EMA. So I think you can probably take that. You can see a lot of people like that. And then this probably just turns out to be 2 legs, but it looked like a channel. So really you got a move down here, a break in a couple legs to a new low, and then you get this move up, break, move to a new high, lower high. That's a nice entry. Plenty of room to the lows. Looking, that's exactly where everyone took their profits, is at the low. So great second entry right there. And we still haven't made it to the lows. Once they take their profits here, though, you know you're late in the trend. So you get this first entry, failed second entry, short. It's off the trend line. Maybe you take that. There's room to the top of this trend channel. Counter trend trade, but maybe you take that. Look how bullish that signal bar is. And then unfortunately you can't take this because we're in a short-term uptrend. But we get the break of that. Go sideways. A lot of overlap. First entry, second entry. So we have a new high from this channel. And then we go lower and you get a first entry. Second entry, I think the failure probably occurs right here. But when you get that inside bar right there, I think you can take that. I think you can go short there. That looks like a trend. It's pretty close. But you got to be careful because, well, you know, we are waiting for a new low too. So, yeah. But still, you got to be careful. It looks like a range. Come down to the bottom of the range and we just go sideways. Get this lower high, but I'm not convinced that we're going lower yet. So you want to be careful. There is a decent amount of resistance there, though, so you might take that. There's room back to the EMA. It's just that these are dojis. Not the greatest setup. Then you get all this mess. You just can't hop in on this. We rocket up, break of this uptrend, move to a new high. We sell off. Shoot, you might consider it a super bearish bar. It's just that more than 3 point bar, but it's pretty bearish on a bearish day. I don't know. Maybe consider that. But anyway, come down here. We find support at that range, and we bounce. And you get a first entry, failed second entry, short. This is also a second entry long. Once it triggers above that, we don't care about the signal bar so much because this is a failure. This is, yeah, it's a failure. Look, that's a great trap. Look at how bearish that is. So I really like this entry. It doesn't get you a whole lot, but it might get you a nice runner, 98.25. You get like 4 points if you take it right there. It's pretty good. Then we correct first entry, second entry, but that's not off my trend channel, and I don't think it would be off my trend channel unless I drew it from like here. Yeah, if you draw it from there, maybe you would have. Yeah. But then if you draw it from there, then this might not be the top of your channel. So I don't think you can take that. It's just in no man's land. And you can see, I mean, we make lower lows, but I was looking at a trap here. Yeah, because, you know, sometimes you'll see stuff like this. And I think people just, like beginners, they'll weigh this too heavily in their head. It's not saying it's not accurate or whatever, but, you know, usually you draw a trend channel like this. So, and this is probably how it is anyway. So you see that respond to the midline, and then we come down to the lows. So people are probably like, oh, we're going to get a new low, but then you don't get a new low because this is not, first of all, this is just, you shouldn't place too much importance on this. Second of all, we did get a break and a new low. But that, I'm saying all that to say, you have this new low, first entry, failed second entry, short. That's a pretty good trap. And that's why I put this square here. I wanted to talk about that. So maybe you take that. There's room to the highs for 4 ticks. We keep going sideways. You actually get a second entry right here. But when you get that higher low, and it's actually matching bar right here. When you get that higher low, I think you got to take that super bullish bar. A lot of people like that. Then we go sideways back to the trend channel. It's looking like you're late in the trend at this point. And we're making lower lows, lower highs. So to me, this looks like we have an overshoot break and a move to a new low, but you just got to be really careful. But you can see that's just a huge bear trap right there. And this thing rockets up. First entry, second entry, signal bar, we're just going sideways. I can't believe we didn't get a break here, but you do get a first entry, second entry. That signal bar is too good to pass up when it's off that trend channel like that. So, looks like we're getting a break now. I don't think there's any traps in here. This looks like sideways stuff. So, the market just closed. So that's how I saw it today. I hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.